welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. The Xbox effect is in full swing. Phil Spencer recently posted here that Starfield has exceeded 1 million concurrent players across all platforms today. He also sends his thanks to all the players, who helped reach this great milestone, and congrats to the Bethesda Studios. All the players that helped reach this milestone, if you notice, that is kind of a broad statement because that is a player base that's inclusive of the PC players and the Xbox players. You see, now Microsoft seems to have realized that the PC player base is a formidable force. In 2018, I made the video saying why Marvel Spider-Man should come to PC because the numbers were there. The PC market has been quietly growing for a very long time, especially at the explosion of the Bitcoin mining phase. Not the one that we saw in 2020 that depleted a lot of hardware and caused prices to run up. I'm talking about the one in about 2016 or so, which actually increased production of hardware components where people could get their hands on hardware and even buy used hardware and start upgrading from the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One to PCs. That's when I got serious about PC gaming, and so did millions of people across the world, because that market grew by almost $2 billion. The data is provided by NPD, but they've taken that page down. If you want to pay for it, you can probably access that data and see. In that time, Microsoft was probably planning Game Pass, but it didn't necessarily seem to open all of Game Pass's possibilities to PC at first. They were trying to keep the Xbox ecosystem a little special. So I noticed that time that Game Pass didn't seem to be a good value for a lot of PC gamers. But now it appears that they've just opened up the floodgates. And if you look at, say, even the number of people who've reviewed the game on Steam, you're looking at about 21,000 people so far in about 21 hours. That's crazy. On the Xbox platform, a few thousand people have reviewed the game, but I think it kind of gives you a sense of how people are engaging with the game. Another really unfortunate side of this conversation I wanted to highlight is, as much as this is going on, and this has always been going on, some of us could see the writing on the wall because the numbers kind of already stacked, against Sony's proposition in terms of subscription. But, for the most part, people were maybe talking based on their emotions or what they perceived, or maybe even following a lot of these talking heads who had already invested so heavily on the PlayStation-centric, conversations that they failed to realize that the changes were coming full circle. If you look at even this post, somebody went ahead and posted this. They put the Metacritic score of God of War Ragnarok and Starfield. It's a different conversation we're having here. There's no longer any need for you to be relegated to one platform to play an Xbox game. You can play it on your phone, you can play on the ROG Ally, you can play on the Steam Deck, you can play on your PC, on your laptop, and even on your TV. It was memed heavily. Remember, folk, they memed heavily this Game Pass proposition, saying that you could play Starfield without a console. I remember some of these online rage farmers, per rules, who's run away from the internet under threat of litigation for actually spreading something, allegedly spreading something false at, Foss, the gentleman who is actually a acquisition and merger watchdog. Apparently, he actually reached out to, per rules and said, I'm going to need your address so that I can sue you and send you, serve you whatever letters that are needed in that regard. And Per Rules disappeared from the internet in the middle of the Starfield discussion. These people are bad actors that have basically, in a sense, inadvertently led people possibly astray. A lot of people invested, or based on their guidance, or at least their misleading guidance, and have probably just missed out on something that they probably would have enjoyed if, say, they were actually looking at things from a much more objective perspective. But it's not too late. The proposition is actually quite nice. It's still there. You can get your Game Pass subscription for about $9. It's not really a big deal. You can go ahead and you can jump into the ecosystem and the platforms and see what all is going on. Because right now, if you look at Game Pass's offerings and you look at what's coming very soon, yeah, sure, you get to see Redfall, but you don't have to play it. I haven't played it. I have Game Pass, and I'm not going to touch it. It's not my kind of game. But a game like Lies of P, I would like to take that game out for a spin when it eventually releases. And, I have a Game Pass subscription to be able to allow me to do that. Forza, I don't really play much, but hey, why not? Why not? I'm probably going to go ahead and try it. I mean, having spent the money to actually, subscribe to the service, if I calculate how many games have released day one here and the games that I've actually tried or games that I'm actually interested in, I realized that I get my money's worth. Think about Wolong, think about Atomic Heart, think about the Minecraft game, think about Hi-Fi Rush, then add Starfield, then add the other games that are coming out like Payday 3 and even Lies of P. I think your subscription already speaks for itself. Another thing people don't really realize is, I'm going to go ahead and say it in this video, is right now, Microsoft is no longer, or Xbox is no longer going to be ignored in the conversation of gamers. Third-party developers, third-party publishers are going to find it very difficult to ignore Microsoft. Why? They're throwing their weight around. They're competing. Remember that statement that was actually unveiled during the Microsoft Activision case, where one of the execs said to Phil Spencer, you know, we're in a unique position to outspend Sony, something along the lines of that. Yes, they are in that position, and I think they're going to do it. They're going to outspend Sony because Sony really did mess around trying to make this game a timed exclusive, and then make the Final Fantasy game a timed exclusive, and then make all these other games timed exclusives. I think all these companies are probably going to go ahead and look and say, you know what? Rather than do this timed exclusivity thing, why not just go ahead and bring out our games for everyone? It's not going to be too easy to do this timed exclusivity thing anymore for Sony. In the past, they were able to go ahead and do that, but now, if you think about it, Phil Spencer seems to have decoupled the Xbox brand from the box. You can play from your TV. You can play from your fridge. I'm just joking. You can't play from your fridge, but who knows? Maybe there might be a Game Pass app on some of these high-end, expensive refrigerators, where when you're waiting for your eggs to get done, you can probably hop into a game real quick. I'm just being facetious, but I hope you can understand that the dynamic of the market is changing. All this being said and done, I would like to see PlayStation actually compete and get some things going. You see, if you think about it, Sony's business model seems to be going outdated in a sense. And I say that in a sense, I'm not saying it's outdated. Don't go jump on the internet and say that's what I said. But it appears that these $200 million production seem to me, or these productions that are costing $200 million, seem to be a production that has always thrived on third-party games that are heavy sellers like Call of Duty and FIFA. But now that Microsoft is acquiring or trying to acquire Activision, I don't necessarily think that we're going to see Sony enjoy all of those little benefits that it had enjoyed that allowed for it to sell a few more consoles. Instead, they're going to have to come up with some other ideas of their own, which they're trying to do. They're trying to get these live service games going. But again, it doesn't speak to too much confidence to the single player propositions that they've given before. If it did, they wouldn't be spending 55 and possibly 60% of their investment in the next coming years on live service titles. If it was, Jim Ryan would never have uttered the words, PlayStation's business would not be the same if Microsoft acquires Activision. Why would a CEO say something like that? Even if it's true, those words should never have been uttered ever. But it appears that it is that dire for them, and that particular source of income was very important to them. And if Microsoft gets a hold of it, it would change the dynamic as to how they do things. The problem that they've had is they've not really provided a lot of value. They raised their prices and have yet to add any proposition so far. Spider-Man is probably going to do well in sales, but how about the other titles that are coming pretty soon, or that have not even been unveiled and probably will not show up until the next batch of video games are coming out? Because Microsoft is probably going to have some stuff, and Xbox is going to have some stuff out there ready to go. The competition is really on and is heating up. Not saying that this is a big win overall, where Xbox is taking everything, but it's a significant, small win for Microsoft and Xbox in their own little, category, because it just shows that Phil Spencer's plan here has just come to, show what exactly it is he probably visualized, or maybe surpassed what he visualized when he thought of this idea. I'll get out of your hair. I know there's a lot to say about this. There's probably a lot to analyze and so on and so forth, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Try not to throw any fanboy nonsense out there. Beware, you must have data to back up your statements, because I know I'm going to get that statement saying, but Game Pass is not profitable. Show the numbers that you have when you say that. If you say that without numbers, be ready for a long education where we provide you data to show you that your comment or your, position on that is probably throwaway. And also, don't give me that Game Pass is going to reduce the quality of games, because you know that that's not true, because Game Pass has a mix of games that come from first party and third party. Unless, of course, maybe you know something I don't, then let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Peace out.